All right, we should be live again. Okay. I don't know what to tell you guys. It is it's annoying as fuck, but there legitimately is nothing I can do about it. It's not I don't know what it is. I genuinely don't know what it is. No, my internet was fine. The internet was absolutely fine. And throughout all of this, it seems like we had one loss on the servers at one point, and that was it, right? The one loss. But yeah, it just fucking broke. It just went down. So I'm waiting for my ISP to come back to me. I emailed them with the results of all of my Twitch stream tests to kind of prove to them, because I can see on this stream test. So I have a program here that allows me to see exactly what's going on. And I can see on this test that I can see the exact exchange where it starts dropping stream frames, or when it just starts dropping. But I'm waiting for them to come back to me and say, hey, this is what the fuck up is, and we're going to fix it. That happened multiple times? Or is it no, Obi-Wan, this happens all the fucking time. And my ISP keeps going, are you sure it's not your fault? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty fucking sure. Like, if everything else is working, like, I can see chat going, I can still browse the internet, but it's just my Twitch dropping. I don't know what else I can do from my side, really, because how can that be my fucking issue? Yeah, if it's not load shedding, it's internet problems. South Africa really does make it fucking interesting to be a content creator. I'm going to tell you that much.
Everything has changed around me, and I have stayed the same. And it's like, I don't want it to change. I liked it the way it was. I wish it would just stay like that. And I don't want...
To be honest, though, I wonder... It's probably not good, even, for humans to live so close to each other the whole fucking time. Especially in, like, the millions. I'm pretty sure Austin probably have, like, more than 1 million people living there? That can't be good. So I think I understand what Asmongold is going through. It changes your mind. It changes your brain. Like, your brain chemistry changes when you're around or surrounded by so many people. Especially since humans didn't evolve to live like that. According to our evolution and historically, we're not supposed to live in communities with more than 140 people. Like, 140 people is the max of what we should be living with. Yeah, you have no time to shut off. And also, from what I found, and this is my personal sort of experience, so it's obviously not scientifically sound, but I was born in a very small town, right? That eventually became a city, but it's weird because it became a city purely because of the informal settlements around the city. The city itself remained relatively small. So because of the amount of people that technically live in the city, because of the informal settlements, it was classed as a city, but it still had that very small town feel. And it was just so different. You walk into a shop, and everyone's greeting you. Like, everyone knows almost everyone. So you walk into your local supermarket and people are greeting you. They're saying hello. You're having chats with people. Like, I remember going to the supermarket, and I would always have like a 5-minute conversation with the manager there, and it was really nice. It was nice to have those connections. And you'll walk in the mall, for example, because South Africa's huge on malls. You'll walk in the mall, and every third or fourth person you see, you greet them, and you're like, hey, how you doing? Because you know them, and they know you, and maybe you went to church together when you were younger, or whatever the case might be. But it was a really small town feel, and everyone sort of knew everyone. And the bad part of that is, if you had a secret, everyone fucking knew about it, right? But, it is what it is. You take the good with the bad. Then I moved to Pretoria, which is a massive, massive city. I lived in Pretoria for 2 years. I didn't know anyone. Like, I went to the same shop every single day. No one ever greets you. No one's friendly. No one gives a fuck. No one smiles at you. No one says hello. You get to the till, and you want to pay for your stuff. No one's saying hello. No one's doing anything. They're just going about their business because they see thousands of faces every single day. They have no interest in getting to know you, right? Because you're one of 1,000 faces. It doesn't even matter. Now I'm back in a small town. Like, the Strand is really small. And suddenly it's back to the days of living in Polokwane. Everyone knows everyone. The shop that I go to literally went to a new shop yesterday, and the guy came up to me. The manager came up to me and he's like, "Hey, I haven't seen you here before. How you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, no, very good." He's like, "Are you from Cape Town?" I'm like, "No, I'm from the north." And he's like, "Oh my God, okay, cool." And fucking just strike up a conversation because he saw that he's never seen me there before. That's how few people are there. It's just a lot more community-based. You feel like you're part of a community. And I think that leads to a lot more trust. You trust the people because you see them all the time. When it gets too big, a lot of that trust gets eroded.
It's just, I see people walking around in like my neighborhood now, and they just look more like, these like upper middle class people, or like at least even middle class people, right? Because like I lived in a working class neighborhood, and it doesn't feel the same, and I think it's weird.
Asmongold is definitely like lower upper class, right? Or even middle upper class, probably. So Asmongold technically can't really go to a working class neighborhood anymore. Dude's rich. Like, he has to start hanging out with Bill Gates and those people.
Yeah, that's this multimillionaire. Well, I have a lot of money, but like, I just live like a normal person, I don't know.
That is true.
I just want to live my life the way I want to live it, and money's not really much of a factor. I just want to do what I want to do, and that's it. And so the point that I'm making is that, like, I've run into this same problem, like, I'd say probably 20 or 30 times. No, not that many times. Probably like...
Yeah, top 5%
I would
most
say,
likely.
half a dozen times where things get really toxic, people get really mad, etc. about me doing something, right? I had this happen in Legion, happened in BFA, happened with Dark Souls, happened later on, I forgot even what that was. It's happened like a lot, right? And so, like, this doesn't happen to other streamers.
Massey, you want to know, like, if you want to know people, you want to know what's the worst country in the world to live in if you're actually social and care about people. Sweden. It is ranked as the #1 country in the world where people do not know their neighbors at all. Like, the Swedish people do not know their neighbors, nor do they want to. They don't give a fuck. It's like, fuck them. Yeah, okay, North Korea probably also like a horrible place to live, although there everyone suffers together, so you're probably friends with all the fellow sufferers,
Right? It doesn't happen to a lot of other people. It just happens to me. And so, like, I think that it's obvious because it's my attitude, like my personality, right? I'm a
Switzerland like
I'm a
that
very
as well,
disagreeable
Orius?
person
Didn't know
in
that.
a lot of ways. I'm very confrontational in some ways, and I also am like very stubborn, and I don't want to listen to what other people think or what other people want me to do. Like, I will only do what I want, and I don't really care about anybody else's opinion. And
Alpha as fuck,
it's not really
bro.
entirely true. I care about their opinion, which is kind of why I'm making this video, but it's more that I don't care about it enough to have it influence what I'm doing, if that makes sense. So, disagreeing with you, Ben? Yeah, and so, like, there are a lot of people that get mad about stuff like that, and I kind of wanted to give, like, my insight into, like, kind of what I want to do as a content creator, and, like, where I want to go, and, like, what my my philosophy on it is because fundamentally, I think that, that which doesn't evolve, that which doesn't grow, or change dies, and I think that that's the case with a lot of things. And if I go back and I think of like 4 years ago, there were an entirely different group of people that, like,
dude, Asmongold have changed a fuck ton. I literally just realized it the other day. I was watching his stream when I realized for 90% of Asmongold's career, he was effectively a gameplay streamer. He played World of Warcraft. That's literally what he played. Like, from start of stream to finish of stream, he played World of Warcraft. And then, these days, it's mostly just chatting stuff. Like, most of the time now, it's just chatting, it's reactions, it's stuff like that. Which I guess is weird, but at the same time, it's kind of the same evolution that I've gone through. Like, very natural. I didn't try to do this. It just sort of happened. Because when I first started playing, like, when I first started streaming on Twitch, I would also play World of Warcraft. I very quickly realized I didn't like it, though. And I just sort of naturally became a just chatting streamer. Jaws, thanks for the follow, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just naturally became more a just chatting streamer because that's what I actually enjoyed. And I feel like it might be the same thing for Asmongold. And a lot of his old school viewers might not necessarily want that.
Where, you know, as successful as I was with streaming, and now it's completely different. And I've survived for quite a while.
Which I know that's also very true. That is also very true. The audience on Twitch have definitely navigated themselves or rotated themselves towards just chatting a lot more. I can't remember the last time I've been on Twitch where just chatting wasn't like the major, like the biggest category. And it's not the goals that's propping it up. It's not the goals. You could say it might be the bathtub goals. But there you have it. Like, just look at that. Just chatting is always top of the meter, and I wonder why that is. Not gonna lie to you, I wonder why so many people prefer the just chatting streams to gameplay streams. Is it just because it's more personal? Like, it's more interactive, it's more personal, it's more it's more fun than it is to watch someone play video games, or because it replaces TV. I wonder if COVID shifted it. Not even, it's more drama. That's also probably true. I think post-COVID people just are lonely and like having not personal that personal stream. That could also be true. COVID probably pushed it up to everyone was locked in and no one to talk to. It's more reality TV like. It's better second screen content. Fabulous, that's also a good point. Your chatting is nice to have on the other screen. Like, I'm playing Divinity now. No, it's like casting a wide net for an audience. I'm kind of with you, Voicey. The reason I don't like gameplay streams is because I can play the game myself. And I would prefer playing the game myself. But I can't do the just chatting stuff myself, right? Because I could chat to myself, but I can't have Asmongold chat to me. I have to go to Asmongold's stream to listen to Asmongold chat.
And I've been successful for quite a while, and I'm very lucky for that. And I think one of the reasons for that is that I've always tried to like change what I do, and it might not really seem that way, but I try to do that a lot. I originally did like more hardcore Warcraft videos, and then I moved into doing like more stream-related content. So like transmog comps all the time, and like watching videos about WoW, and just like goofy like
that's
weird
also
WoW
very
events.
true.
Then I moved over. I did variety gaming a little bit.
I noticed the drop immediately, by the way. Doesn't matter what I'm playing. As soon as I switch on a game, there's like half the stream just ends up leaving. Half the stream just pieces out. And I don't think, sure, it could also be the game that people just don't want to watch. But I think it is just sort of that thing of whenever you do a gameplay stream, there's an immediate shift in how you interact with chat. Because now the interactions are far more game related. Because a lot of people are going to ask questions about the game, so you're going to answer about the game. There's not going to be as much just free-flowing conversation during opinion streams as a means of course correcting myself away from fanboy echo chambers. Voice TV, I will take that as a massive compliment. You're playing games I haven't played yet, and I don't want spoilers. And that also makes sense. I leave only if it's Final Fantasy 14, or yes, a lot of people stay only if it's Final Fantasy 14, though.
Like with Dark Souls. Came back, I did classic WoW, and that was a big deal for me. Then after that was over,
Nice,
I
Massey.
I came back. I did retail WoW. I changed again because I feel like that was a bad direction. And then I went to Final Fantasy. I did that, and now I'm kind of doing like a variety streaming, like kind of just chatting, commentary stuff. So it's like over the years I've kind of like done a lot of different things with my stream, and I think that I'm in like one of those places right now where, and every single time that I've tried to make one of those transitions, it has never really been without friction. And I think that doesn't really surprise anybody. I think it would make sense. But I wanted to give people like some insight into kind of like where I'm coming from and like what I want to do with my stream, etc. Because
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I believe the future of Twitch is going to be just chatting. I don't think the future of Twitch is gameplay. I think you'll still have the here and there, a streamer once or twice, like one or two streamers, like let's say Shroud, for example. People's always going to watch Shroud play shooting games because Shroud is fucking brilliant at shooting games. But I don't think that Twitch as a future will be gameplay. I think it's becoming the meta of Twitch is to have that personal conversation, have those chats. And like most of you said, you're in chat. You have me on for your second monitor. If you play a game, people have to move that stream either to first monitor or they have to contend with the fact that there are two games happening at the same time. One that the streamer is playing and the other that they're playing, which can be very fucking annoying if you're in the middle of a cutscene or in the middle of something and now the streamer is in the middle of another cutscene and you're just like, fuck, dude, I really don't like this. I don't watch people play, just listen if it's interesting to me. Pretty much. Imagine watching Tyler 1 every day for 8 hours playing the same game. Tyler 1 is, again, personality-based, right?
I see there's a lot of people that are disappointed or not happy about different things that I say or do on my stream, etc. And to be honest, like I don't really find a lot of validity in like 95% of what people are saying. But I think that there is there's validity in a sentiment, even though necessarily like the reason for the sentiment might not necessarily be right or wrong. And so, like for example, like I like to like watch videos and just like talk about stuff, right?
I do too.
It's what I've
It's
always
what I
really
fucking
enjoyed doing.
love.
It's been something I've liked a lot, and so
Nice, Lupeki.
old viewers missing
Nice.
old times. Yeah, I think that there are a lot of people doing
Fuck
that. And
you,
so,
Evans.
I do want to kind of
Evans, time yourself out. You're playing a mobile game in my fucking stream? Dude, that will not stand. Fuck that. You're being timed out, bro. I can't believe that you're playing a fucking mobile game in my stream. In my stream. You fucking asshole.
move away from just like streaming video games all the time, and I'll still play games sometimes, sure, but I don't want that to be like my main content for
You
my
can,
stream.
Massey, absolutely. Report the shit out of Evans. Dude, I don't want mobile scrubs in my fucking channel.
I think the reason for that is that I'm getting older, and I feel like my ability to play video games is deteriorating to an extent, and I think this is probably a mixture of probably like, I think it's like 80% just like other responsibilities and other things that I have to do in my life and worries and concerns that I have, and only probably 20% actual like physical dexterity that's a result of aging.
Just to sort of, that's a myth, by the way, the physical dexterity thing. From all the studies that they've done, they found that even up to your late 30s, your dexterity doesn't actually go away. It seems like you only start losing dexterity as a gamer around your 40s, mid to late 40s, actually, where the dexterity loss will be insane. It was believed in the beginning of esports that the esports career would be very short and players will basically be able to play only until like the age of maybe 25, and then they'll get fucked. And then it turns out people like Faker still one of the best mid laners in the world for League of Legends. And he's like an old fuck now, right? So they did some studies and they found no, actually, it turns out the dexterity is not that big of a deal until much later in life, because you basically have to slow down quite a lot before it's going to become an issue. To focus on create your reality. I think it's more a case of, as I grow older, I'm finding myself less and less interested in mastering things. Right? I don't want to play a game with too high of a skill ceiling, because I could be playing a shit ton of other games that would be just as much fun without having to master this insane skill ceiling. Whereas when I was younger, it would be nice to play something that sort of pushes you. Whereas now I don't want that. I want to sit down, I want to relax, I want to play a little bit of games. That's really fucking it.
I don't think that's really the biggest reason, but it's a big reason, and so it's not something I really want to do a lot of. And I know that there are some people out there that are disappointed about that. They don't like the just chatting or the React stuff. And the fact is that I do think this is the best path forward for my stream. And
from Reddit,
I think also just like kind of.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I think people have probably noticed. I've been I've been much more of...
Too bored. We tolerate console gamers because they're at least not mobile gamers. But if we're not talking about mobile games, we don't bring up console gamers. They are the peasants of the gaming industry. Why would we talk about them? Like, seriously, there's no need to bring it up. No need to talk about them. They don't count. If you're not a PC gamer, you're not a gamer. Not really. You could pretend to be one, but you're basically one of those OnlyFans girls that got herself like a headset with the two little bunny ear bullshit, pretending like you're a fucking gamer. You're not a gamer. You could say you are, but not really. You need a PC if you want to be a gamer. So let's dial down the hate in this chat. Let's not talk about console people unless we're talking about mobile as well. We let them in for the gaming conversation when it's against mobile people, because they're the fucking worst. They're the scourge of the gaming industry. But if we're not talking about mobile, there's no need to talk about console. Robotic Unicorn, you bastard, with 10 community subs. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear a round of applause here. Put your hands together for Robotic Unicorn, keeping the channel alive by themselves. Thank you. You're far too kind, Robotic Unicorn.
I guess you could say like an asshole in a way, but you can definitely say I've been much more outspoken about what I think about things in general.
Still
ever
a
since I came back to streaming. Is this something that we can agree on? Yeah, absolutely. And so I know this has cost me, viewers, and people have not liked that as much. And
Robotic, I really appreciate it, bro.
I can see why, and sure, but the truth...
Apocalypse, yeah, peasant trying to be better. Like, you are literally that peasant that pumped out your fucking wagon so that you could look less like a peasant. Still a peasant, but, at least you're driving with, like, mags on your wagon, so you're trying to do better.
Is that it's something that's a lot closer to like what I am as a person and the way that I really feel about things, and so it's been hard for me to kind of hide that, and I think that's why in many other cases I've been consistently burned out by streaming, is because I kind of have to put on such a dramatic mask. I have to pretend to be somebody who I'm not, and the doing of that has been extremely anxiety-inducing and very stressful, because you're always in a position where you feel like you don't want people to find out like how you really feel or what you really think, or where your head really is. And so in the process of doing that, you end up really kind of losing yourself and
I don't think so.
Being a person that you're not.
But in fact, I think this is the start of Asmongold really probably going for a very long time. Like, there's two ways of streaming. The one is being yourself and just absolutely being yourself. The other is to put on a persona, but then do it obvious. So basically, we're talking Dr. Disrespect levels here. That's a persona. It's so obviously a persona. It's acting. It's a show that he's putting on. You can probably do that for a really long time because there's actors that do that for a really long fucking time. The issue is if you're this middle ground, like you're not quite yourself, but you're also trying to be yourself to some extent. That is very tiring. That's very tiring because I'll be honest with you. There are days, like today, for example, where I don't want to be super hyped about stuff. I just want to chill and hang out with chat. In the past, this would have been a day where I would have probably told you guys not streaming today. I'll see you guys on Monday. Because I always thought to myself, no, when I go live, I have to be fucking in there and I have to be like hyped up. I have to be like at 180 fucking % of what I normally am. And because load shedding and I don't know what Monday is going to bring, I'm sort of going, you know what, fuck it. Let's just go live. Let's do whatever the fuck feels natural. And if it works, it works. If everyone tunes out of the stream and they're like, oh my God, you're so boring today, then fuck it. You know, then I'm boring. What am I supposed to do? I'll tell you a small secret. And I don't think we're going to watch the whole video here. It's 50 minutes long. And it's not really stream content, but I wanted to hear what it is about at least. But I'll tell you a secret that I've basically discovered purely by accident. So my last 4 videos on the channel, the YouTube channel, have all been speculation videos. Just recorded another one yesterday. It's all speculation. They've been doing incredible. They absolutely fucking incredible. And I thank all of you for watching and just pushing them higher and hitting the like button, all that shit. But there's one major difference between those and any of my previous videos ever. There's no acting. That's just me. I just decided I'm going to sit down. I'm going to talk. I'm going to give my speculation theory. I'm not going to get hyped. I'm not going to get overhyped. I'm just going to be myself. And that's it. Because it is just a conversation about lore. It's supposed to be a conversation about something we all love. And it's not the views that I'm sort of freaked out by, because there's a lot of views that those videos are getting. What I'm freaked out by is the watch time. The watch time on those videos are phenomenal. More and more people, like 70% watch time on every single one of those videos, which is high for YouTube. The average watch time on YouTube videos is 50%. Means that the majority of people watched an average of 70% of the video. That is really fucking high. And all because I made one change. I stopped pretending. I stopped trying to be entertaining. I just said, fuck it. Let's just talk about the lore, because that's what I want to do. I want to talk about the lore. And if I'm trying to be hyped, if I'm trying to be too hyped, I don't want to make the videos, because I have to be in the right mindset to make those videos.
And I came back to streaming this recent time, and
I
told myself I'm just going to be myself, and that's pretty much it, for better or for worse. And I want to let people know
Boys to be, that's very true.
I understand that some people don't like that.
Well, then, yeah, we can watch 50%.
And that's not going to change what I'm going to do.
Just to not fuck up the average, right?
It's not, because at a certain point, I have to...
Although, does Asmongold need me?
Like, what's all...
Do you think Asmongold needs me? Like, this video... Dude, this is what breaks my heart. I have to work my ass off in order to get, like, 10k views, yeah? Asmongold makes a video where he sits outside, and all that it says is about my stream. 670,000 fucking views, dude. Easy life. That is so much money as well. Like 600,000, you're looking at around, with his amount of subscribers and the amount of money that he's getting, probably you're looking at about $6,000 to $7,000 just for this video.
All this for if I'm just doing something that I don't enjoy. what's all of this for if I'm just doing something that, you know, is stressful and anxiety inducing and things like that.
Well, and I have to at some point.
I'm not going to change really any of the ways that I approach things.
I'm not complaining. I think Asmongold deserves all the success that he's got. It's just strange once you make it, how little you have to do in order to keep making it, right?
Or anything like that. And I understand that there are people that are like disappointed about that, and you think that I should do, you know, like whatever, right? And I
heard the Greek god thing was a fucking mess.
Things that people say, but I'll never take somebody's opinion and give it precedence over my own. So there are times that I change what I think, but I will not do that.
Apparently people were very angry about the Greek god thing.
And so, is it streams getting toxic?
Yeah, it's 60%.
Well, so, the thing is, like,
Asmongold's cut with his editor is 60% of the YouTube channel. So Cat Danny gets 60%, I believe, and Asmon gets 40%, which is more than any other editor makes on YouTube almost.
I think that being true to myself is something that I really it's very hard for me to do.
So fucking true.
It's just based off of like how I am, right? I'm very maladjusted. I'm misanthropic. I'm an asshole. I don't get along with a lot of people. I like to be alone in my house. I'm a degenerate. But this is really what I feel comfortable
2 years,
being.
King Julian? 2.5 years?
I'm content with. I feel calm and at ease. And whenever I try to be or pretend to be somebody else, I'm always tensed up. I'm always nervous. I'm always worried that, you know, people will see through it because it's really not who I am. And so I think that, yeah, you're right. It does create more toxicity and hostility, etc. But it's also not something that I'm going to stop because of that. And that's really what it is. I think that's the biggest factor. Now, I will actually say that I think that recently, the truth is, like, I like debating and arguing with people. I do. I like it a lot, and I find it stimulating and
my God, Asmongold's becoming a debate Andy.
You know, whether that's GGX or the, you know, some person in chat, or whether that's, you know, some other random person.
How long before Asmongold joins Destiny as a debate Andy? Like, yeah. How long before Asmongold is also into the whole debate meta? What would you do if you suddenly boomed to Asmon Acco levels, streaming to 10k people? CDJ, exactly what I'm doing now. Just, I would probably feel a little bit more overwhelmed as a result of it, but I would probably do the same thing. Watch Destiny rake Asmon. I don't think Destiny would rake Asmongold. Asmongold's pretty fucking base, dude, and also not dumb. I've heard a lot of his arguments in the past, and he does think very rationally about most things. The only time Destiny actually owns people is when it's someone like Hassan or someone like Vosh, who has zero rational beliefs. They just say whatever sounds good. And then Destiny can pull it apart because, you know, you have no rationality backing up fucking anything. If your positions are logical and rational, Destiny is not going to be able to pull you apart. How the fuck is he going to be able to do that? First streamer I ever watched was Total Biscuit and his hyper incompetent single draft disasters in Dota 2. Then started watching you, Aklon, followed by Ballad and TNE. Robotic Unicorn, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate being among those people. It's good. And yeah, let's be fair. Total Biscuit was a fucking god, dude.
I enjoy doing this, and it's something that I like doing, and I get fulfillment out of doing this. So that's why, like, if you go back, I think a lot of the criticism that I've received over the years has been that I argue a lot with chatters.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that keeps happening? It's because I get something out of it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting something out of this, obviously. And it's like, why would it be that like the exact same thing keeps happening over and over and over? Well, you know, it's probably because it's something that I why ban them?
Something you enjoy.
Because I don't.
You do get.
I don't want to listen.
So I watch a lot of other streamers, and I've always sort of thought to myself, you do get these times where you want to sort of emulate what other streamers are doing because they're more successful, and you think to yourself, how could I do what they're doing to also grow my own channel? And one of the things I noticed that's very different about my streams to a lot of the other streamers out there, a lot of streamers will just straight up block or ban or ignore anyone that disagrees with them. Like, as soon as you disagree with them, they just go, nope. Either they won't respond to anything you say after that disagreement, or they'll just block or ban you. I rarely, if ever, do that because, same as Asmon, I like actually disagreeing with people. In fact, if you told me, dude, let's jump on Discord and have that disagreement, I've done that in the past, and I'd be happy to do so. If you want to have a disagreement with me and you want to fucking have it out with me, let's go, bro. I'll go for an hour or so discussing stuff. I fucking love that. That's why we are banned in all other streams except yours. Pretty much, Mikey. Pretty fucking much. Truffle Shuffle Gaming, how you doing, brother? I'm not going to keep watching this. Streamers like creating an echo chamber where everyone has the same opinion. Shrektard, how you doing, bro? Welcome to the channel. Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. And yeah, the one thing that I refuse to do, or at least try not to do, is create that echo chamber. I want people that can push back. You know, I want people that can... I want people that can tell me, look, I think you're wrong. And then explain why they think I'm wrong. Because there's nothing more horrible than holding a position that you believe to be true when everyone else knows that it isn't. But because you've put yourself in a position where the only people that you ever speak to are the same fucking people that agree with you, you never understand what you're wrong about, or even that you might be wrong. And it's far more important to me that I'm informed than it is to be right about everything. You've heard him say, show me, teach me rationally. Asmon bans people too. He disagrees with, though, and he doesn't want to invite people into Discord. He had multiple opportunities. The Discord thing I can't really speak to, but I've seen Asmongold when he bans people, and it's usually after a lot. And we've done that too, but that's usually because someone gets really fucking offensive because you don't agree with them, which happens. Because a lot of people want freedom of speech only for their own speech. Like, there's a shit ton of people that, oh, yeah, I want freedom of speech as long as it's my speech, right? I don't want you to be able to say stuff. I want to be able to say stuff, and you should just agree with me because apparently I already have the truth. You still need to learn the truth. You can be right or you can be happy. I've seen him ban people because he is in a bad mood. Unpopular opinion, I like flat earthers. They aren't malicious, and when disproving them, it makes you think about first principles we take for granted. Dude, flat earthers is surreal, dude. Like, that to me is just... We've come so far in... Like, this is the one thing that doesn't require debate. We don't need to debate whether or not the Earth is round. One would think that's sort of the basic understanding for everyone. And then there's a group of people that just do not believe it. Just like, nope, the Earth is flat. It's like, that's wild, dude. That's wild. With all of the technology we have right now, it's just wild to me that we actually have that. Anyways, I'll go watch this video later on my own, because it's obviously just, you know, I was hoping for a bit more drama, but I'll go watch it on my own later. Round or flat? It's an ellipsoid? Dude, that's just being fucking nitpicky there. What if it's both and it's just our perspective that changes? Machendo, this is getting into like weird reality versions of what is reality even. Did the flat earther are even believing their shit, or it's just some dudes throwing? No, there are actual flat earthers that believe that the earth is flat. Pissed Off Walrus, how you doing, bro? We've got like an hour and a half or so left, Pissed Off Walrus. So we're going to get into the one reason The one reason why most of you are here. Part number 2 of every single Warhammer 40k faction explained. This video, by the way, on my Clips channel, did stuff that I did not fucking imagine would ever happen. The video is at 40k views already. Saya, how you doing? Thanks for the 0 sub. Really appreciate it. 3 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's like at 40k. What the fuck are you Warhammer people smoking? Like, why do you like watching plebs react to 40k? That's weird. But I love the views, so thank you very much. Let's see if this one can get as many fucking views. That would be great. All right, so chapter or part 2, we're now going to learn probably about the other factions. Because right now, I know some about the Imperium. I know fuck all about any of the others. Lunabal, how you doing?
Hey all, this is part 2 in a 2-part series on the Warhammer races. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, we do the Imperium of Man. You can check that out in the description, and I would highly recommend you watch that to get context for this episode. If you already have, go ahead and keep on watching. So after an entire episode of nothing but humans, we can now talk about chaos, which involves humans again, but a little bit less. We also got demons and shit.
I just felt someone grab my ass.
What?
Like hard, Nick.
So, as I've mentioned many times before, we discussed the warp, the immaterium, the hellish landscape, the purgatory dimension realm between the material realm of our existence. Now, in the warp, it's terrifying, horrible. There are demons everywhere. Things are crazy. All your minds and thoughts and emotions get projected there. It is both formless and empty.
This is the place in Warhammer Fantasy. There's a realm, one of the Chaos Gods. If you touch anything in the realm, you're trapped there forever, right? This is where their realms are. The warp. Now, my question is the warp the same for Fantasy and 40k? Or is the warp not called the warp in Fantasy? Is it something else? All Chaos Gods live in the warp, and yes, Slanesh will turn you into sand. Is he talking about Epstein's Island? Massey, probably, right? Shadow Scully! Thanks so much for the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate it. 6 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're far too kind. Is there heresy inside the warp? I think the warp itself would be considered heresy, right?
It is vast and tiny. It obeys the laws of time and physics while simultaneously does absolutely nothing of the sort. It is a hodgepodge and culmination of just unknowable, eldritch, horrifying shit. And there are 4 gods that permeate in chaos and the warp. These are the 4 major chaos gods. And if we wish to learn about chaos, we need to learn about each and every single one of these chaos gods. First up, we have Khorne, and he is the easiest. Khorne is your classic Satan. He is all about anger, murder, fighting, blood, guts, death. You ever heard the term blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne? That's Khorne. The whole idea is that he is all about the fury and strength of battle. He doesn't care where blood comes from so long as blood is flowing. He wants to fight and murder and carnage and slaughter and death. That is Khorne.
Easy.
Very simple to understand. Next up you have Zeach, and Zeach is the god of change. However, the god of change, it's permeates in so many different other ways. He's the most eldritch of all the demon gods. He has this weird way to...
I just have to correct this, eldritch. But okay, never mind. It's not like, you can probably say it any way you want, but yeah, Aldrich is weird. Khorne will always be my favorite. Dude, Khorne just sounds like more Warhammer 40k, because considering that everything is about war and death, I'm pretty sure Khorne fits right the fuck in.
To always be plucking at the strings of the universe. He's always conniving and scheming and doing his best to cause as much little bullshit as he can. Zeach is unknowable. Everything that makes sense, he will and won't do. Every future and setting and every type of destiny or fate is all foretold and also changeable. It is set in stone while also completely random. He knows what everything is going to happen,
so nothing
and
is fucking
also that
what?
none of it's going to happen. You would ask Zeach a question. That question leads to 3 more questions, and those questions lead to the heat death of the universe, which asks 4 answers to those questions. And then he thinks to himself, what are questions even really? And are you even asking the questions, or are you simply giving paths to answers and other horse shit? Zeach is just, I'm gonna fuck with stuff. He is yes and he is no.
I'm assuming the Warhammer guys use Zeach quite a lot in order to retcon shit, considering the fact that this guy likes fucking with the universe so much, and also everything is true at the same time nothing is true, which makes it the perfect scapegoat for literally every single retcon ever. About to bring him to WoW? Yeah, the user needs one of these. Zeach is dope as fuck. He is the changer of ways.
He is the understanding, and he is complexity. He is unknowable, and that's what the God of Change is about. Very bizarre, and he likes birds a lot. I don't know why. Next up, we got Papa Nurgle. Papa Nurgle, he loves you for who you are. Probably not. He will murder you just the same. But Papa Nurgle is about rot, pestilence, death, and decay. He is the end of everything. Him and Zeach do not like each other very much because where Zeach represents change and adjustment, Nurgle represents stagnation and death. He is all about miasma and pestilence and large bloat.
That is an ugly-ass monster, bro.
And organs and people just being sedentary, sloth. He is the idea that everything will rot and decay and die. Nothing is certain besides
How is this not your favorite?
Death. All of us will end up the same way, and broken down through just sheer never-ending decomposition.
Is he going to go into where they come from or how they came to be? Because I'm assuming they must have an origin.
So the joke that Nurgle always loves you is generally because of that, because we all end up the same. We all rot, and we all die and wither. That's Nurgle, and he's got a general theme of course, pestilence and different kinds of diseases and sickness and things of that nature. That's generally Nurgle. He's pretty easy to understand as well, and he chunk! Finally, we have the youngest of the Chaos Gods, and that is Slaanesh, also known as the Prince of Pleasure or the God of Unspeakable Excess. Slaanesh is generally referred to
Lost boys, let's go.
But it's not only sex, it's just that's a good avenue if you want to make stuff.
Exactly.
Slaanesh is just
Vagabond
the idea
how you doing, bro?
of
Thanks for the follow, really appreciate that.
Body being cranked to not just 11, but more like 17. So we'll discuss Slaanesh.
All right, I think I'm gonna go to Slaanesh's realm. Is this the ladies that hang out there? I mean, fuck. If you're gonna put this lady in the Slaanesh realm, that's where I'm staying from now on.
Being cranked to not just 11, but more like 17. See, we'll discuss Slaanesh a little bit more when we talk about the Eldar, because they done fucked up. But it, or whatever, is mainly about just the excess of emotions.
Okay.
And therefore, sex is generally a large part of it.
Dude,
However,
what the fuck? They have, that's teeth on their tongue. That's gonna be a fucking troubling blowjob, that.
Mostly pain and torture. Lots of pain, torture, but sometimes sexually related or drug related. Lots of drugs. Lots of drugs. Slaanesh gets off on everything. Extremes in happiness, extremes in sadness, extremes in pain and sadism and masochism. And of course that goes along with the sex part of it as well. It's generally referred to with sex because of the color scheme, very purple, lots of exposed genitalia. A lot of their models have like exposed nipples and stuff.
I mean, it makes sense that they're using sex because it's sort of like the one sort of mortal sin everyone understands, like lust, the need for many, the plentiful, the overabundance and overindulgence into many, and most people immediately think sex. So I get why sex would be such a big thing, and also sex sells. You can basically convince any man of anything through sex. Easy life. Not the Emperor of Man, he is pure. Well, he dead now. Like, basically dead now, so does he even fucking matter?
And that is generally the theme you go for from a physical side, but it really embodies everything, mainly pain and also the excessive amounts of emotion. So when it comes down to it, you'll find a lot of them have things like spikes or...
What's that saying again from the Inquisitors? The one that I love so much about innocence does not... Fuck. Sorry, it has nothing to do with the video, but I just remembered... I can't remember what that saying was again. It's like, innocence is not a defense. So innocence proves nothing. Yeah, that's the one. That's the fucking one. So if an Inquisitor goes into the say, for example, the realm of Slaanesh, do they get tempted? Like, is it dangerous for Inquisitors to go into the realm of Slaanesh, or are they so pure that they just won't ever, like, they just won't ever get tempted whatsoever?
Whips or any kind of BDSM style gear, because it is unspeakable excess, the prince of pleasure, everything in excess to the point where it is just sheer frightening. That is Slaanesh in a nutshell. A little bit bizarre and a little hard to describe sometimes, but as we talk more about the Dark Eldar later in this video, you'll understand it far, far better and far more than you want to. Now you might be thinking, why would anyone ever want to join Chaos? They all look horrifying, screwed up, and just frightening things, right?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that, of course, one, your mind is put into the warp and the Immaterium, so you can be easily swayed by chaos demons when they get into your head, especially if you're a psyker. Sometimes regiments of the less mentally strong people, whether they be civilians or, say, low-level guardsmen or conscripts, can be easily swayed by this and become chaos cultists and stuff.
This is where the exterminatus or whatever the fuck comes in, right? If there's been any evidence of any sort of chaos corruption, the entire planet gets exterminated. Which is rough as fuck, to be fair.
And they serve their dark gods and whatever god they personally prefer. However, and this might seem strange, chaos in their own right isn't necessarily evil. See, the warp is every manifestation of emotion and being, every soul, everything of existence. This includes all the good things. All the different chaos gods have another side to their coin. Khorne might be death, murder, slaughter, slaughter, but he's also got this weird sense of survival of the fittest, trial by combat, and honor. Khorne will never lie to you. Khorne will never stab you in the back. Khorne isn't about conniving and scheming. Khorne is about straight up mano-y-mano, you versus me, get in the ring, we're gonna murder each other hard right now.
Fucking
May
hell.
not be a good thing at the end of the day, but it is that other side of the coin. Him and Zeach generally don't get along because Zeach is that conniving...
Who could kill a chaos god? Is that even possible? Can you even kill a chaos god? And by the way, just listening to this, it's very clear that World of Warcraft was inspired by this, because that was what the Horde and the Alliance was supposed to be. That is what basically the entirety of the universe is supposed to be. The cosmological forces of World of Warcraft is exactly that. They're not good, they're not bad. They have sides to them. Like, some sides are bad for us, but it's not necessarily bad for everyone. And some sides will be good for us, depending on, you know, where you are and what they want versus what you want. It was meant to be that. The Horde and the Alliance weren't supposed to be good or bad. They were just supposed to be. And it would really, your viewpoint would change how you view the Horde or the Alliance. If you're a Horde, you'll view the Alliance as evil. If you're Alliance, you'll view the Horde as evil. That have obviously in recent years changed. It feels like Steve Denuser is far more of a monotone thinker in that regard, which is sad as fuck, but at the same time, I guess some people just have a really hard fucking time trying to, like, because it takes a lot to balance that, to have everything in your universe, because so far from what I've seen about 40k, everything is just multiple stages of fucked up. And that takes a special talent to actually get stuff done that way. That is the Lord of the Chaos. They are not inherently bad. If you remain in control of their gifts, you become a god. Many are too weak and succumb. Ooh.
schemer, but he's also about the idea of hope. Where there is change for your predicament. There is change for your problem. The hope of the galaxy, the ability to bend the world to your will, the idea that your fate is not set in stone, but in reality that you control your own destiny and can control it whenever you want. The changer of ways. That is Zeach. And of course, Zeach and Nurgle hate each other because while Nurgle does represent stagnation, death, and decay, he also represents finality and ending. The fact that you can be mentally at peace knowing that you will end and how you will end.
Just based on what he told me, Nurgle would also to some extent represent stability. Because it is that idea of let's not change things because things ultimately have to die. And that's sort of what he wants. So it would also be a bit of stability in a Chaos God could be weird.
Fear of the unknown, fear of change is not present with
vibing
Nurgle.
And chilling.
With
exactly.
Nurgle, everything
just vibing, bro.
will rot and die, and that provides that finality, that ability that this is over. We are all the same, and we will all end the same. We know the meaning of life. The meaning of life is to live and die and rot. And with that, it brings peace of mind. Slaanesh is a lot more simple. While they are the excess of emotion, they are also the representation of emotion. Slaanesh embodies happiness. Slaanesh embodies excitement and joy and pleasure, not only in the sense of the physical, bam style of pleasure, but also everything else like food and drink and air on your cheek and sunlight, the feeling, emotion and feeling. All of that is also represented with Slaanesh. So you have to ask, why are they always represented as super evil skulls and spikes on everything
it's Warhammer
and want to murder everybody?
Gwen has
got an answer for you on that one. My assumption is that because mentally humans may think worse thoughts, even if we don't act on them,
but this sort of removes the ability for anyone in the Imperium to be happy. Because if Slaanesh, and when I say happy, I mean they're pretty much not even allowed to smile. Because if Slaanesh is the embodiment of also emotion, that means if you just crack a little fucking smile at a joke that your friend told you, you get exterminated. The Inquisitor goes, what the fuck? Bam! Peace, bro. And maybe you weren't even corrupted. You're just smiling. That must be fucking horrible. Bear in mind, 99.999% of people do not know these beings exist. Not exactly. Containment is an illusion. Why not exactly, Monley? Happiness in the Imperium, heresy. No, only if you go into the extremes, it can corrupt you. I like to read the Warhammer books. What book would be best to start with? Anthilus, we're starting with the videos. I have no idea which books you should start with, though.
Therefore, they're projected in the warp more. That one's a little bit
so it's
weird.
only if you go into overdrive
right now, but
so if you laugh from your belly, for example, the Inquisitor goes bam, fuck off.
I don't know. You need a super bad guy. You already got the Imperium of Man. You need somebody to be a little bit worse than them. So you got demons. Honestly, who cares? I just want to buy like a bird magician. Look at him. So cool. So combining all this together, on the tabletop, Chaos Demons are generally very melee-based. They run in, go really hard. You have lots of summoning and conjuring, tons of spells. Generally a little bit frail, but they have special saves to make them a little bit stronger. You've got giant demons and smaller demons. You got hordes of little boys and tons of big guys. Demons are as they seem. Demons. Nurgle is slow, Khorne is super scary in melee, you've got Zeach who are far more into psychers and spellcasting, and then Slaanesh who is all melee, really, really, really fast but squishy, but in lots of hordes of tons of melee and pain damage, of course. So overall, the demons are a huge part of 40k and a massive threat to almost every single faction with the exception of a couple.
Whose numbers are greatest? The Imperiums or the demons? Because in all other games, demons are usually the ones that overrun you with just sheer numbers. But that's how the Imperium wins, is with just sheer numbers. The Chaos and the Empire are equal in terms of numbers. All right. Demons are immortal. They return to the warp then when dead. Fuck. Or Tyranids, I think. Then Imperium. Jesus.
Big part about demons is also
right.
transferred
Fucking
into
number
the
game,
other
bro.
9 Primarchs we didn't talk about, which are the Chaos Space Marines.
Chaos Astartes.
So Horus and all of his boys, all of them in the Primarchs, they have all also become Chaos Boys, and they all have their own special class legions, specializing in so many different things, just like the Adeptus Astartes, the Angels of Death, the regular Space Marines. Chaos Space Marines aren't a whole lot different than the regular Space Marines. They have the same armor, generally the same training and toughness. They just specialize in different kinds of things. And also a lot of the Primarchs have ascended into greater is it greater demons? They're demon Primarchs at this point. Gigantic, horrifying man-demon hybrids that are pretty awesome, if I'm gonna be honest. They look really, really cool. But them...
Can you free yourself? So these Primarchs, is there any way for a Primarch to ever break free from the chaos? Or once you're in the chaos, you are in the chaos forever? I don't mean free yourself from it so that the Empire takes you back or the Imperium takes you back. I just mean free yourself so you no longer serve. To redeem, yes, but no one wants to because chaos is best. They likely wouldn't want to. You need the help from the big E. Sounds like heresy.
And their associated legions that they are a part of are all kind of going out there and causing a large ruckus for everyone else. Considering the raw strength and firepower of a legion of Space Marines, imagine that entire legion just converting to chaos and immediately fighting you. It's generally pretty horrifying. Yeah. There's a lot of them, so I gotta write them down. But you've got the Emperor's Children with Primarch Fulgrim, loyal to Slaanesh. These people, they are some messed up people. They're just sensory overload, tons of drugs, tons of torture. And I think Fulgrim is a demon Primarch right now, and oh god, I am terrified to see what that man looks like, at least on the tabletop, because Emperor's Children are not good people. You've got the Iron Warriors, which are kind of like opposite of the Imperial Fists, with Primarch Perturabo, I believe is his name. They're Chaos Undivided. They just kind of serve Chaos in a general aspect instead of choosing one of the 4. But the Iron Warriors are big on the siege and fortification, and they're basically entirely against the Imperial Fists and are a major rival. Perturabo, I believe, is also still alive.
But they used to be friends, or the same.
Demon Primarchs are badass. You've got the Night Lords with Primarch Conrad Kurz. Conrad Kurz is dead, which is good because he's a sick fuck. But the Night Lords are generally about terror, terrorizing people and terrorism.
How did he die and why is he a sick fuck? The Everchosen? Who's the Everchosen? But who killed him? He was a mage, a mega sadist. He let an assassin kill him. Why would he let someone kill him?
Generally about fear, and rightly so. You've got the World Eaters with Primarch Angron, still alive, also excited to see. Angron,
ugly as fuck.
If you think you've known an angry person, Angron is the angriest son of a bitch you will ever know. Angron removed parts of his brain that didn't make him angry, so he could be angrier. Fuck? Angron. Fucker's mad. You've got the Death Guard with Primarch Mortarion. They actually have their own special codex and their own major army on the tabletop. Mortarion himself is actually one of the models, and look at him.
Oh,
look at
cool
him.
As shit,
it's so cool looking. Of course, Nurgle based, obviously. So very slow, but very tanky. You've got the Word Bearers with Primarch Lorgar. Lorgar is, I believe, still alive. I don't know what's up with him at the current moment, but the Word Bearers are generally the people who caused all the major problems in the beginning.
Dude, it seems like no one really knows everything that goes on in this game.
With Primarch Horus. Get fucked, nerd. You've got the Alpha Legion with Primarch Alfarius Omegon. Chaos, I think. And then finally, you've got the Thousand Sons with Primarch Magnus the Nerd. Thousand Sons also have their own book, just like the Death Guard. Magnus is also a tabletop model. He looks super cool, as you can tell.
Cool.
And they're all super
these
heavily psyker
the tabletop models look sick.
They look pretty neat. But overall, with all of these Chaos Space Marine factions, you can play as a lot of different ones, but the main ones that you could really work at are standard Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, as well as the Death Guard and Thousand Sons, as they are the most fleshed out, especially on the tabletop at least. See this right here, this is a really good way to describe the Chaos Space Marines. What the thick-headed fools with their broken corpse of an emperor fail to understand is that not only can they never defeat us, but they cannot hide or flee or shield themselves from the triumph of chaos. They are finite and we are unbound, undivided. They must not err, or they shall fall to heresy. All who fall join our cause. Every imperial fool who dares to open his eyes is a willing recruit. They strive merely to hold back our fury and might, and it consumes them. Thus, you can see chaos is inevitable. We lurk not only beyond their grasp and at their gates, we lurk within the darkness of their souls, on the tip of their tongues, in their tortured dreams. We are them, but freed from the shackles of ignorance. We are them, grown strong, evolved. We are them, but so much more.
Wow, these guys really hate the fucking Emperor. And Kama Sustra, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. Lori, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's weird how much they hate their brothers.
As hardcore as that quote is, the saddest part is they're mostly right. Chaos is basically unkillable. You could probably get rid of Space Marines, a decent amount, the Chaos Space Marines that is, but every soul that dies goes to the warp. Every Chaos soul will end up back in the warp. And depending on how hard you killed them, they will come back at some point. Every demon you banish will return at some point. Chaos is unstoppable. The warp is unending. And while maybe there is at some point some way to stop them somehow, the resources to do so, the requirements to do so, are so far beyond the reach.
You'd have to go in. Man. I'm assuming it's similar to World of Warcraft, right? Where the demons can only die when they're killed inside the warp. So in World of Warcraft, for those of you that maybe never have played World of Warcraft, very much based on early Warhammer. It eventually deviated once Chris Mason stepped away. But when Chris Mason still set up the whole universe, the demons go to the Twisting Nether. Inside the Twisting Nether, they are basically unnumbered. And you have to kill them inside the Twisting Nether in order to kill them. So I'm assuming this is going to be sort of the same thing. But for that, you have to send in an army and hope that that army does not succumb to chaos. And that's almost impossible. As most of you said at the beginning of the stream, if any mortal steps into the Chaos realms, they're almost certain to become corrupted by the chaos.
And the other races at the current moment, that really, it's just an unstoppable force that just
and you can't go to the warp, fuck.
And it's just barely being slowed. Chaos is by far the biggest threat. They are without number, their legions are everywhere, and yeah, they're pretty scary. So, I promise, we're done with humans now. Let's talk about some Xenos.
The Eldar. Who the fuck
so
are
let's
they?
talk about the Eldar, or also known as the Eldari, which are a super hyper-specialized and very technologically advanced race of, well, elf people. They were, as well, responsible for the creation of Slaanesh, the newest demon god. How'd they do that? Debauchery on a world-ending scale. See, back in the day, it was just Khorne, Zeach, and Nurgle. And the Eldar are very, very ancient. Millions of years. These Eldar, however, have a bit of a sensory...
They factor into existence.
You know, every kind of pain or feeling that you have is a little bit amplified compared to the normal. However, with Eldar, as their race advanced so excessively, and they became so self-reliant, and everything became so easy, there was no requirement for food production anymore. There was no shortages. Everything was basically done. Everyone was so comfortable. And that comfort breeded this weird sedation. And that sedation breeded the requirement for more and more debauchery.
Easy.
Debauchery!
Easy.
Debauchery!
When everything you have can be so easily acquired, you will end up down this road of pure debauchery. All of the senses the Eldar had that were so powerful, things like feeling, happiness, sadness, and just evil and good all needed to be satisfied and satiated. And the desire to satiate these senses grew more and more with worse and worse debauchery. It started off with things like sex and drugs becoming so much more rampant because of these are the first things
rock
you
and
generally
roll,
turn to
right?
when requirements for living are so easily accessible. It would get to the point that made Sander Cohen in BioShock look sane. All right, this is the kind of debauchery it led to. It was constantly satisfying and satiating these sexual and sadistic.
Dude, I'll tell you what though. Before the society finally created a fucking chaos god, it must have been nice though. Like just everyone fucking everyone else the whole time. I mean, who among us are gonna say no to that shit?
Fantasies that only elevated and elevated, and this was species wide. People started going down darker, more depraved, and more violent paths as time went on. However, some people didn't entirely take to that. Some of the Eldar were looking at this depraved species that they had become and said, no thanks for me, dog, I'm good. And they bailed. These are the Craft World Eldar. They left on these giant continent-sized starships called Craft Worlds. They believed in learning the old ways of the Eldar and pushing away from this depravity and debauchery and going back to their main roots. And so they would segment themselves on these giant craft worlds far in the outer reaches of space. They even had this thing called the Webway. Remember what we mentioned about warp travel with the Imperium? Well, the Eldar had something way safer called a Webway. And the Eldar Webway is actually like a pocket dimension kind of thing. And in that pocket dimension...
Imagine if the Imperium and the Webway people, like the Eldar, joined forces. Like, why wouldn't they? The guys that broke away, why wouldn't they join with the fucking, like, because they seem to both at least like a bit more of a Puritan way of life. They do on occasion. And with Xenos, yeah, why not, bro?
There were also more horrible, depraved groups and clans that would spend their time in there. And if you imagine the debauchery was bad already, these were debauchery X10. So all of this continued, and it bloated until Slaanesh just burst forth. All that emotion, all that mental, thought processes, I suppose. All of this in such a condensed space. Don't forget, this is all being shot, all their souls as well, into the warp. Oh my God. All this depravity right into the warp. So what happened? Boom! Slaanesh was birthed and killed off 90% of the entire Eldar population. Untold trillions had their souls ripped from their bodies and their actual fleshy bodies devoured by Slaanesh demons. The entirety of the Eldar race was eaten alive and their souls consumed to the Prince of Pleasure. All of them got fucked up. It was so bad that it literally ripped a warp hole into the fabric of the Materium called the Eye of Terror. That's literally this like quasi-horrifying gateway portal from the Materium and the Immaterium right next to Cadia. And it is horrifying.
What's wrong with Cadia? What's wrong with Cadia? Damn, I tuned the Brickers video. Nice. I'm Jam Jam. How you doing, bro? There is no good in the universe, just degrees of evil and scars the universe. Cadia dead, not a happy ending they were after. Cadia went boom. Oh my God. Okay, so Cadia is obviously their home planet, right? It's where the Eldar made their home. And that's where it ripped into it. Okay, so I have a question. If the Eldar could create Slaanesh with their abundance and their everything and their debauchery and their sex behavior and shit, why would the Imperium's constant push for purity not eventually lead to the exact same thing? Because it seems to me like abundance is what ultimately creates gods. So the Imperium is effectively, at some point, going to create a really fucking bad god within the warp. It's speculated the Imperium might make the Emperor an actual god. Oh, that would be cool. The dude can finally fucking breathe. Okay, so they are effectively working for Khorne, even though they kill Khorne.
Slaanesh, also known as She Who Thirsts by the Eldar, slaughtered the entire population except for a couple. Those in the craft worlds were actually not affected by this as they were so far in the reaches of the galaxy. That crazy
Good
crack,
call, bro.
that
Good
birth
call.
of Slaanesh only affected the ones in the center. So these craft world Eldar were able to escape, but Slaanesh got their sights on them. Every time an Eldar will die, their soul doesn't.
Oh, and remember in the first reaction we did to part 1, I asked that very question: why would the Emperor not like it? And it was in the comment section of YouTube actually that someone informed me. Well, the Emperor was very atheistic, and it is kind of ironic that someone who wanted to destroy all religion would ultimately become the sort of principle of a new religion being established around him. So I'm assuming if the Emperor could talk, he'd be pissed, bro.
Just pass into the warp naturally. It goes straight to Slaanesh, craft world or not. What about those people in the webway? Well, imagine that giant birth happening, but they were only able to just barely get a grasp onto you. Slaanesh was just barely able to hold on. These people are the Dark Eldar, or also known as the Drukhari. The Eldar population right now is so massively small. It is minuscule compared to any of the other most of the other populations in the universe. The Eldar are consistently having issues trying to get their population up because as their souls are constantly being hungered by from Slaanesh, they realize their entire species is doomed. And they understand it very well. Since the time of the fall, our race has been haunted by what we, in our reckless pursuit of hedonistic indulgence, gave birth to. Though our dreams once overturned worlds and quenched suns, we are now but fitful shadows clinging to the edge of existence. All the stars in the sky cannot blot out the hateful glare of the red moon's eye. The birthing place of the great enemy pulses with all the malice of a demon that is dreaming, casting its shadow over all we have ever done and all we ever shall. Every twisted strand of fate and casting of the runes leads me to this time, to this place, and it is clear that the final battle awaits me at the ancient Crone worlds, a conflict the likes of which has not been seen since the Mon-Kai warred amongst themselves and their corpse of a seer fell to his traitorous son. Is coming, and all my steps lead towards it, no matter that I walk
Wait, I missed a conflict the likes of which has not been seen since the Mon-Kai warred amongst themselves. Mon-Kai humans, warred amongst themselves, and their corpse of a seer, the Emperor, fell to his son. Fuck, okay. Jesus, so they know that that conflict is coming as well.
I see the stars stained red with the blood of the Mon-Kai, and though their wars do not concern me, I would gladly let them destroy one another. I know that to avoid this fight is to condemn my race to inevitable doom, and though all I see is darkness, I know that I will not flinch from my destiny. And now let's talk about cute plastic models.
Bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
The first playable race we have for the Eldar are the Craft World Eldar and living in those Craft World starships I mentioned earlier. And each of them have their own kind of Craft World, almost like a Space Marine Legion. Each Craft World is in itself its own special kind of group. And the Eldar themselves are very fast and rely a lot on trickery. They are squishy, a bit weak, but they're very in tune as psychers. Tons of psychers across the entire
How hard would it be to play them? Are they hard to play?
And their weaponry and abilities are fast and extremely hard hitting, but of course rather fragile. Understanding an Eldar's brain is
like
an exercise of futility. They are all over the place in confusion and trickery on a whole galactic scale. They fight weird, they think weirder, and Eldar in their own right really rely on this to keep their species alive. They need to think about deception and the strangeness of what they do if they truly want to not be immediately murdered and slaughtered wholesale thanks to their entirely small population. However, I must say that it seems like their population is getting slightly better. These craft worlds hold millions upon millions of people. And as they continually, reproduce and have their craft worlds expand, losing a few people in battle while
that's a cool ship, dude.
They aren't really losing what's extremely precious to them. It's not like every single death means the death of their species. It seems like they're kind of on the upturn a little bit. They're still a doomed race being sucked into Slaanesh every time someone dies, but they are definitely doing a little bit better.
Wait, but isn't that true for all races? Because he just said that all souls upon death go into the warp. So theirs just go to a specific god rather than just go normally into the warp. But everyone feeds the chaos after all. So what makes them sort of doomed if their souls do the exact same thing as everyone else's souls?
Than they were before. Eldar are fast, cunning, and what they don't make up for in tankiness, they make up for in extremely advanced weaponry. They also call humans Monkai, which is something I mentioned earlier. That is a derogatory slur for humans in the Warhammer world. Why is it called Monkai? Well, it's because you can't, in your game, call people monkeys.
You could.
On the tabletop, exactly what I said.
Could.
Not very tanky.
You could call people monkeys because, technically speaking, Mass Effect did that. If you've ever played Mass Effect, in Mass Effect 2, I think it's number 2, could be 3. I think it's 3, actually. But Mass Effect 3, you meet a Prothean. And the Prothean, basically, when he sees you, he goes, wow, last time I saw you, you were barely out of your monkey phase. You were just learning how to use tools. So technically, you could call people monkeys in your game.
Generally pretty squishy.
Why are those things so big?
And move at Mach 5. Fast, hit hard, die fast. Exactly how it sounds. They've been good for a very long time, too. We bring only death and leave only carry-on. It is a message even a human can understand.
Jesus.
Eldar. So, Drukhari. Let's talk about the Dark Eldar.
Yeah. The sexy ones. Let's go.
That's fucked up.
So those people I mentioned in the Webway, in the super deranged cults and the depraved people of the Eldar, in the Webway, they didn't quite get a hold onto them. Slaanesh has them, but it has them on by the pinky finger. And they're slowly being consumed by Slaanesh, but they found out they can stave her off by doing Slaanesh things. The Dark Eldar are by far the worst, most horrifying, disgusting, depraved, and brutal race in all of Warhammer 40k. These are entirely a group of people whose full purpose to save their species from extinction, to go into planets, raid them, and take as many slaves as they possibly can to torture them for 1, 5, 10, 20, a million years, because that torture will keep them from dying. They look very BDSM style too. They definitely have a lot more spiky bits, and they have a lot more of that kind of...
Definitely scene kids. I think if there's they're very scene. Wait, so Stolly, you say they can't stave her off. Slaanesh leaves them alone as they keep doing that shit. All right, so as long as they keep doing the things that basically still feed Slaanesh, Slaanesh will leave them alone.
Have leathery black look to them. But let's say you are an upstanding Imperial citizen living life on a regular planet. You get invaded by the Necrons. The Necrons will shoot you with a deatomizer, and you will be destroyed in a millisecond, and that's it. Not the worst way to go. You are invaded by Chaos Marines or something. You take a bolter shot to the head or a chain sword across your stomach, and you get cut in half. Painful, but not the worst. The Orcs arrive. They beat you to death. Hurts, but, whatever. Tyranids, they eat you alive. It's pretty rough. The Dark Eldar. This is going to get a little graphic. I apologize. You pray you die. You don't. You are instead taken as a human slave. Your life will be endless work and agony, 24/7. They will make sure you can't not die, as your pain satisfies them. They will hook you up to all manner of torture devices. They will inject pain-based stimuli drugs directly into your nervous system.
Jesus.
They will slowly run razor blades across your skin. They will fillet you and pull out your teeth and your fingernails one by one. They will remove your appendages and your skin and wait for it to grow back so they can do it again.
Jesus.
They will murder and torture and use the R word, it rhymes with grape, your entire family in front of you and do the exact same thing to them. You yourself will also be rhymes with grape anywhere and everywhere possible. And this will occur for 20 years until you are no longer satisfying to them. And then you will be contorted, crushed, and twisted into some form of trophy, a fleshy trophy, or a ring, or a couch, or a TV stand, or perhaps a wonderful hat, while you are, of course, still alive and breathing. And you will become a moaning, fleshy trophy for eternity.
Dude, what the actual fuck? Scald, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat. I mean, your Sundays are a lot more adventurous than mine, if this is like a regular one for you.
Is what happens when you are taken by the Dark Eldar. They are the most depraved, most horrifying race in all of 40k. They look the part, and they do it so they all don't die. They are literally forced to do this, because if they don't, Slaanesh's grip will get harder, and they will have their souls pulled away. So long as they keep doing this, Slaanesh is like, you're doing good, man. You're doing solid. You keep that shit up, you elf-eared bastards. That's the Dark Eldar. That's the Drukhari. They are horrible. On the tabletop, they're actually kind of like Eldar, but more extreme. They are even squishier than the Eldar, but they hit generally even harder. Fast attacks, skirmishers, really quick speed, get around them, do a lot of damage, get away kind of stuff. That's most of the Dark Eldar. Look up the definition of grim dark in a dictionary. You'll find a picture of the Dark Eldar and Sev from Republic Commando. A quote from Mr. Vecht. We are the lords of despair, masters of terror. Dread and agony are our meat and wine, and they are plentiful indeed.
The quotes from this game is Dark fucking Eldar. Horrific.
Some of the Harlequins. Clowns.
What's the matter, Andy? Don't you want to have some fun?
The Harlequins are a bizarre race of Eldar. They're demonic clown performers. They're like a weird mix of Sander Cohen from BioShock and Jin from League of Legends, but in a more clown theme. They're artists of death and perfecters of their craft. They do not belong to craft worlds or any of the weird Drukhari people. They guard something called the Black Library, which is this giant tome of never-ending knowledge deep in the heart of the Eldar webway, and also guarded by their god named Kegorok, I believe is how you pronounce it.
They have a god.
He is the laughing god, but it's the Eldar's laughing god, and these are the Harlequins, the Harlequin clowns. These are Eldar clowns, okay? So imagine the things that an Eldar, these depraved individuals, would find funny.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is the god of that. It's a horror clown. These are gods of horror.
So basically
for us normal people.
This is the inspiration behind it. Like the you guys remember the fucking killer clown from years ago? This is what inspired it.
For them, they're like, oh, it's so funny. They're all dying horribly. Honk, honk. They're very bizarre and difficult to describe. They've escaped the ruinous powers of Slaanesh.
Not gonna lie, it made me afraid to fucking shower for almost like 3 weeks. Because I watched it when I was really small. And there's that scene where the fucking shower turns into blood. Dude, I didn't want to go into the fucking shower for like 3 weeks as a result of that shit. It was fucking horrendous.
Somehow, but their main thing is guarding that Black Library. And the Harlequins they're demon clown performers. They're barely any models on the tabletop.
Wait, what? Assault? Wait, what? Slaanesh ate most of the Eldar gods. Kekarak managed to dodge it, while Isha can put in Nurgle's cum jar. What? players didn't shower at all back in the day. I have always fucking showered, bro. But why? You know, I understood what you mean was put in, but how many gods did they have? Keeps one of the gods as a pet. Jesus. So their gods are not as powerful as the Chaos gods. Isha is enslaved to Nurgle, and this god survived. But if they're gods, how can a god enslave another god unless the power levels are bonkers?
Melee? They're demon clowns. I'm not sure. I got a quote. It is too easy for an Eldar to embrace the obscene virtues of chaos, for Slaanesh is nothing more than a manifestation of the Eldar mind in its most wild and unconstrained form. Human morality is meaningless to the Eldar, and to the dark side of the Eldar mind, all life is to be expended at a whim. Cruelty and generosity are but the impulse of a moment. Beauty and sensuality are virtues that can be expressed in bloodshed just as easily as in song. To an unfettered Eldar mind, there is neither sanity nor madness, but merely a wave of perfect existence fulfilled by its own savage momentum. They're very strange. Harlequins, Drukhari, Eldar, they are an anomaly that make humans seem completely easy to understand in comparison. They range from rekindling their civilization to horrifying murder and also clowns. They're all over the place, but honestly, they represent quite well and are rather interesting, especially with the whole Slaanesh murdering everyone bit. So,
yeah,
I
would say very interesting.
Now, bugs.
Mom, they following me, Mom. They following me. The bugs.
The bugs.
The Tyranids. Now, you want to talk something a little more fun, a little more simple than all this crazy Eldar shenanigans? Let's talk the Tyranids. They're bugs. Do they look like Zerg? Hell yeah, they look like Zerg. You want to know why they look like Zerg? Because they were actually supposed to be what Zerg were. Apparently StarCraft was supposed to be a 40k game in the beginning, hence why they look so.
I have a kind of theory that suggests if you put the whole Blizzard library together of the base games, so StarCraft, Warcraft, and Diablo, it's basically the 40k universe. The only difference is Blizzard didn't take one game and make the one game 40k. They basically used 3 games and borrowed to make 40k.
So much like Eldar, Zerg, and the Imperium of Man, like kind of Space Marine-y, those Marines, huh? They look a little bit Space Marine-y to me.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. You really fucked up on that one, Games Workshop, didn't ya? Tyranids are a giant infestation of unfathomable proportions. These are giant, extremely bio-advanced hive mind organisms that are basically all about absorbing as much biomass as they possibly can to evolve and mutate to be extremely potent and powerful and kill and eat anything in their path.
I would say to some extent, but then with Diablo, you have the angels, heaven and hell, the demons and the demon lords of hell, which again you can see quite a lot of crossover with the demon lords actually being able to corrupt the angels, but also corrupt the mortals. So there is a lot of similarities in terms of tropes between like all 3 of those games, because even in World of Warcraft, there's borrowings from the 40k universe, as well as then, of course, borrowings from, I think, more fantasy than 40k. And then StarCraft would absolutely be a hell of a lot more borrowing from 40k than it would be from anywhere else. But it's just sort of, it's loose. So I'm not saying that it's 100%. I'm just saying loosely, it feels like Blizzard took inspiration from the 40k universe quite heavily when it came to setting up their different games.
path. They are probably the least evil faction in all of 40k because all they want to do is eat shit. They want to nom nom the entire galaxy. They hangry and eat food. Also, this Tyranid hive mind has a presence in the warp. In fact, Tyranids in their own right have a massive presence in the warp. They have a thing called the shadow in the warp specifically, where when they are coming in to invade a planet, they have this weird ability to kind of cut off the warp on all the psychers on that planet. And how do you get help across the stars? Well, you need the warp because you need that for interstellar travel. So with people unable to call for help from the Tyranids, these are just easy picks.
The thing there is almost every fantasy universe is loosely based on Tolkien to some extent, right? The difference here is you could actually point to various things within Warhammer and go, well, that is quite fucking the same. Just quickly, the Twisting Nether and the Warp, it's technically basically the same thing, right? The demons, technically basically the same thing. The same with Lovecraft. Like, World of Warcraft is loosely based on Lovecraft, and you can finger things in World of Warcraft and finger things in Lovecraft and go, yep, same thing. I mean, literally, the god in Lovecraft is called Azathoth, and in World of Warcraft it's Azeroth. Kinda same, right? Not quite same, but same. You know? So the truth is there's a lot of inspiration, but when you look at the different, when you look at all the fantasy universes, it does, well, actually, I don't even have to speculate here. Chris Mason himself admitted that his greatest dream was to make a Warhammer video game, and then when they didn't get the license for Warhammer, he made Warcraft. But basically, Warhammer.
Pickings, and an entire giant Tyranid hive fleet comes out of orbit and just will massacre, absorbing all that biomass and turning them and all of their other Tyranids into even more advanced monsters. They come in so many varieties too, all based on what is important. Tiny little ripper swarms for scouting and having little dudes eat people up, to the Hormagaunts, Termagants, and Gene Stealers, all the way to the Hive Guard and the Exocrines and the Swarm Lord, to Hive Tyrants and their giant battle fleets, and even something as crazy as the Hierophant Bio-Titan. The Tyranids come in all forms and sizes depending on what they require. They are extremely
this is like the Starship Troopers
things. Anti-biological weaponry. There is no way you can plague them or blight them. They have extremely strong armor, carapaces and such. Tyranids are nigh perfect organisms and are pretty spooky when it comes down to how they handle all of their genetic material. Keep feeding them, they'll keep evolving. They keep on creating new horrifying organisms.
But I mean, there's enough crossover between like 40k and fantasy to get confused, right? Like if you're like me, for example, who don't know all the differences or even either of the universes that well, this is like the third or fourth video I've watched about 40k or Warhammer in general, because the first video we ever watched about Warhammer was actually from the fantasy universe, and it was the one about Slanesh. If you're like me and you only know bits and pieces of it, it looks like a very similar universe. The only difference is that one takes place 40,000 years later than the other one, but it looks the same, at least.
Spread across the galaxy. And you know what the most terrifying part of the Tyranids is? We might be surrounded. There have been like around 6 or 7 Tyranid hive fleets. Behemoth, Kronos, all these different kinds of hive fleets. And they've all arrived in the galaxy from different points. Different sections of the Milky Way galaxy have had different Tyranids come through.
But where do they come from?
That is horrifying. Because as far as we know, we could just be surrounded on all sides by Tyranids.
They've eaten every other fucking universe, and now they're on this one. They're like, okay, final one, boys, eat up. Holy shit.
The only reason you may not hear a whole lot about Tyranids is because it's a little bit hard to have a bunch of story off of one hive mind, genocidal monsters. All these giant bugs swarming in, killing and eating everybody and evolving. Oh, I mean, as cool as there are, there's some cool characters, the Swarm Lord.
Maria the Pigeon, thanks for the 2 months up. Really appreciate that. 7 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're far too kind.
Or an old One Eye. You can't really have a whole bunch of major character-based stories around them. As awesome as they are, they're simple.
Ivana, how you doing?
They want to eat you and absorb your biomass.
I'm very happy to have all of you here. How many of you are here for the first time from the Clips channel? So you're here because of the Clips channel. Very happy to have you here, by the way. I'll definitely be doing a lot more. Natora, you're not here for the first fucking D-Rocker. Shut the fuck up. Why do I even ask that fucking question? Of course, suddenly my entire fucking chat is here for the very first time from the Clips channel. Why do I ask you more on shit like that? What a stupid question. No, but we'll do more Warhammer stuff because this galaxy is intriguing to me. Especially because it's what WoW used to be. So many holes and gaps that it just leaves you with so much speculation room. Like, so much shit you can talk about because no one really knows.
They are simple bugs. If you want something a little more complex, talk gene stealer cults.
I can have all the pot I want, I get around faster than walking, and wherever I need a seat, I can just sit on my balls.
Gene stealer cults are a special brand of Tyranid that can slowly infect themselves into different kinds of society. And by infecting them, they can rise up to where they all pray and believe in these regular humans, pray and believe into their Tyranid hive mind gods. And these brood lords and I think they're called patriarchs all can turn an entire world all based into gene stealers, and these are called gene stealer cults. An entire hive world of the Imperium can be turned into nothing but servants to the Tyranid masters just by infecting them and screwing with their genetic code a little bit. They also have this cool like Mad Max look, which is really neat. They are definitely one of the bigger threats to the Imperium besides Chaos.
Exterminate is their only way. 100%.
They're up there though, because you, dingus, stepped on a bug in middle school. Asshole. There is a cancer eating at the Imperium. With each decade, it advances deeper, leaving drained, dead worlds in its wake. This horror...
From Ron, thank you so much for the follow, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Not a first-timer, but I first seen you on the Clips channel. Noctis, very happy to have you here, brother. I would like to know your favorite faction at the end of the video. I can already tell you... but I'll tell you at the end of the video, but I can already tell you which one is my favorite.
This abomination has thought and purpose that functions on an unimaginable galactic scale, and all we can do is to try to stop the swarms of bioengineered monsters it unleashes upon us by instinct. We have given the horror a name to salvage our fears. We call it the Tyranid race. But if it is aware of us, it must know us as nothing but prey. Tyranids, they're cool. But are they as cool as the orcs?
Every screen's gone red! That means I'm super fast!
Orcs, 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 orcs.
Why do people like the orcs so much?
Love orcs. So, yes, the green monsters, the green tide, the green skins. These orcs, they are in fact a race in 40k. The orcs are as exactly what you expect them. They have archaic weapons, they're big boys, they have axes, and they have got big old teeth, and they want to kill everything, and there are so many of them. The only reason they haven't taken over the entire galaxy is they can't stop murdering each other. Orcs are so cool. Orcs don't have philosophy. Orcs don't have existential crisis. What matters is who's the biggest orc. You listen to that guy because he the biggest orc. He big orc. Big orc knows best. You win through the power of imagination. Of all the races I have battled throughout the galaxy, the orc is the hardest to comprehend. They wage war with machines that should not work, care little for strategic gains, and are just as likely to slaughter each other as the enemy. How does one battle an enemy that defies all logic? As an orc, you're enjoying life. You're enjoying the life.
I'm happy to have you here, brother.
Your whole life and job and purpose is to get up and beat each other to death because you can. The biggest orc is the man who understands everything. He is the boss. And orcs have this really weird, like, big, dumb, stereotype British accent which is just hilarious to me. Those are orcs. You fight. You like to fight. Your whole purpose is to fight. You wage war because you want to wage war. You got your boss over there, and you better listen to the boss, because if you don't listen to the boss will squish you and make you an example for the other orcs. And then you can't fight because orc dead. And orc dead can't fight because orc dead. Orcs. They
don't give a
scrap
fuck.
together machines out of parts that don't make any sense, and because they believe, they have the mental imagination that that machine will run, it'll run. If that machine's out of gas, you're driving that machine with your fellow orcs, and the biggest orc is behind the wheel, and you run out of gas, some orc behind you is like, oh, Zog, we're out of gas. And the big orc is like, no, we're not. I filled the fucking gas tank up earlier. And all the other orcs are like, oh yeah, you did do that. And then you turn the fucking mech back on and it works again. Does it have gas? Probably not, but it works. The power of imagination. They paint things red because it makes them think
what
it
a
goes
universe.
faster. They paint things purple because it's the sneakiest color. You wanna know why? You ever seen a purple orc? Didn't fucking think so. Orcs are also like ancient as hell. They're back in the Eldari time frame. But back then they were called Krorks, and they were much larger and scarier and far more intelligent. Now they're just orcs, and they're big, dumb.
But how did they
smack
get
things.
dumb?
But they're pretty spooky. They're not very well armored, but they hit really hard. And it's called the Green Tide because there are so many orcs. There are about as many orcs as there are Tyranids. Maybe more. Who knows? But they keep on, murdering each other, so it's not too bad of an issue. Orcs are entirely comic relief. Their stuff is slapped together. That makes no sense. Their vehicles don't work the way they're supposed to, but they work because they think it works, because they imagine that it works. Orcs care only about who is the biggest orc, and they will follow the biggest orc. And then if they want to be the biggest orc, they'll challenge the biggest orc. And then when they go and they issue a wa is just war in orc, they murder everybody and everything in this giant tide of green orcs.
That little fucking goblin thing there.
They don't care that they're hitting Eldar or the Imperium or Tau or anyone in between. They're just so they get to beat shit up.
That's
orc.
So I know it's not the same, but this sort of reminds me of Mass Effect. In Mass Effect, you have a race. Now I'm blanking on the fucking name. What are they called again? Rex is one of them. Oh my god, dude. You say Krogan. Purple stuff. Thank you. Yes. You have the Krogan. And the Krogan is basically the same. They are a warlike race that only gives a fuck about war. That's it. They used to be incredibly advanced. Like, there's one quest that you do, like a series of quests that you're on their home planet, and you actually go into one of their temples that is now completely abandoned. But they were incredibly advanced, like super advanced. And thanks to a thing called the genophage, which basically means that out of I think it's like every 40,000 babies that are born, only one will survive. Like, most of their children die. But the reason the genophage was introduced was because they were getting so their population was growing so fast that they were starting to destroy the whole universe. Like, they were just invading everyone because there's so many people, they need resources, and so they just kept fighting. But the reason they were created in the first place was to fight the the Rachni, which is similar to this. It's similar to the Tyranids. The Rachni is also a bug race, and they basically also went fucking crazy thanks to a Reaper, and it was only with sheer numbers from the Krogan that they were able to defeat and destroy the Rachni. And now they're just like a race that wants to war and kill everyone, and that's basically all they fucking do. So if Warhammer could figure out how to get the orcs to fight the bugs, maybe the orcs can beat the bugs.
And on the tabletop, they are a total coin flip, and they're really fun. I have never met a salty orc player. I have never met someone who plays orcs and is ever just a bad guy or that guy. Orc players have this kind of fun to them because when you play them, you are completely submitting yourself to RNG. So here's the thing. Guardsmen, Imperial Guardsmen, when they shoot, they roll a dice, and on a 4 up, they'll hit their target. They have a 50% chance. Space Marines, pretty good. They hit on a 3 or higher because they're well trained. Adeptus Custodians, they hit on 2s because they're just super well trained. Orcs, they hit on a 5 or higher. But if they roll a 6, they get to make another shot with anything, from the dinkiest pistol to the biggest rocket launcher. It doesn't matter. Half of their stuff will blow up on a whim. One of their medics, if you roll a 1 to heal someone, you fuck up your surgery and you just kill an orc. They're so wacky and sick.
Dude, I would never play this. It would be a fucking nightmare to play this. Why would you?
But the thing is if you roll well, you roll high, and you keep rolling high, you are going to crush people.
Yo, you're never gonna always roll high.
You lose.
Like,
that's what
imagine that game, that one fucking game out of 100 games where every single one of your fucking rolls is lower than a 5. Every single one. Dude, this guy says he's never made a salty orc. I will be fucking ranting and raving at some point. Like, I will lose my shit on about the 10th level 3, like 3 roll. I will just break shit. I'll just be like, fuck this game, bro. This is not possible. But the Orc had to roll a d6 at the start of each turn. The animosity roll dictated if that unit did what you wanted, did nothing, ran at the nearest ally, or charged at the enemy. Fuck, you want to play Orcs? Is the thing, though? Probably. You go into that game not giving a fuck. Dude, but why would you go into a game not giving a fuck, though?
You get when you play orcs. That's what happens when you play orc. It's a coin flip, which is why you can't be a salty bitch when you play orcs, because things won't go your way. It's just the roll of the dice. You're playing a dice game. But if you're going to have fun and you want to be stupid and you want to be silly, you're going to play some
You're salty.
orcs.
How you doing,
but
brother?
on the opposite side of the fun part
Thanks for
of
the first time chat,
let's talk about the Necrons.
Okay, here we go. These are the people we saw in that video that you guys showed me. It's like 9 minutes or something. With Space Marines and the big fucking balls. And their guns sort of melt shit. Like, the guy got hit in the arm and his fucking arm just melted off. These are the Necrons, right? Alright.
The Necrons are spooky, scary skeletons and very grimdark again. They have a much more fleshed out lore than before. Back in the day, they were just undead Egyptian space terminators, and they still look that way, but now they actually have a story. So way back in the day, you had the Necron tier. Kind of see a theme here: Eldari, Eldar, Krork, Orc, Necron, Necron tier. So the Necron tier were this race of generally kind of shitty people. Not because they were personally shitty, but because their lives were awful. They were ill-fated to a horrible existence of like radiation and a terrible planet they lived on, and everything just really sucked. Being a Necron tier was just really depressing. They really were looking for immortality. They were extremely reliant on the hope that they would eventually find the key to living forever and just stave off this horrible.
Dude, I'm a Necron in real life. I'm a Necron in real life, in other words, because I genuinely want eternal life. I hope that we'll get eternal life at some point.
Upon them, and therefore they could become the most dominant race in the galaxy.
Easy.
And they found this group. They're called the Old Ones. Imagine them kind of like the Forerunners in Halo or the Xel'Naga in StarCraft, right? These Old Ones were these strong, pretty much omnipotent beings, and they, of course, knew the key to immortality. So the Necrons went to them and said, please, show us your ways.
Teach us.
And the Old Ones said, piss off. Not really.
Easy.
They were a lot more humble about it, but they did not want to share their secret of immortality with the Necrons. The Necrons, of course, took this very well and waged war with them, kind of under this united banner. The Necron different dynasties didn't really like each other, but under this one man, the Silent King, he thought the best way to unite his race was to do this giant war with the Old Ones out of spite for them keeping the secret of immortality to them. This was known as the War in Heaven, and this is actually like a multi-stage war, because during this War in Heaven, they discovered the Star Gods, a whole new race of people known as the Catan, or the Catan. These Star Gods were also very much like old ones, almost omnipotent beings, and they too had the key to immortality. And so the Necrons went to them and said, hey, can you help us fight off the old ones? Can you help us kill these old ones, you, the Catan? And the Catan said yes. And in fact, we can help provide you with the immortality you so desperately seek.
Bad idea.
So the Silent King of the Necrons decided to make a pact with the Catan to allow them to accept this generous gift of immortality upon them. But this, of course, had been a horrendous trap, and the Necrons were dragged in chains to this biotransference where their flesh was stripped from them, replaced with nothing but a metal hollow shell, as their souls were ripped from their body and fed to the Catan. And the Catan fattened up. They got chonk on the souls of the Necrons. As this was their plan all along, they consumed the flesh and souls of the Necron tier and turned them all into unwilling robotic slaves just to serve their will. And then, with their new-founded Necron army, they pointed their guns at the old ones, and the Catan continued their domination of the stars and their genocide, complete and full genocide of these old ones. The old ones did their best to stave it off. They even created other races, the Eldari and the Orcs, to try to fight off the horrifying Necrons.
The old ones created the Eldari and the Orcs? Jesus. So the old ones are the true OGs. Fuck.
Army and the Catan above them, but there was absolutely no possible chance for them. And the old ones were absolutely extinguished across the galaxy. Their entire race completely removed. Full-on 100% genocide. However, during all this, the Catan, so just infatuated with their victory, started fighting each other for fun, for sport, and for small differences. Doesn't matter. The Catan, with these overpowered people, they're gonna
fight each other. Fuck it.
And as they began just menially fighting each other, the Eldari and the Orcs actually started pushing on the Catan's borders a little bit, giving them a little bit of a run for their money. And as this continued, this is when the Silent King, who retained his consciousness, decided to leap into action and start a full-scale revolt against their Catan masters. And this revolt was bloody, as the entire Necron army was surged off to destroy these star gods. They were able to, just after suffering horrendous losses, were able to turn the tide of the war. And they took these Catan and they blasted them. Because as these star gods are unkillable, they were able to break them into thousands of shards and entrap them in giant stasis vaults to now actually be slaves to the Necrons. And with the Necrons having the entirety of their old gods enslaved to them, they realized that soon their race was about to be attacked by the overcoming new races, the Eldari and the Krorks. And so what they did is they retreated into giant stasis tombs in order to preserve their energy and their strength for when one day they would be reawakened and they would be able to rule the galaxy that was rightfully theirs. And then some dingus Adeptus Mechanicus guy diddled with a green console, and now the Necrons are back and they see all these primitive races on their lawns.
Wait, so it was the Imperium that awoke the Necrons? Oof, bad move, dude. You're already at war with literally everything else, and now you add yet another fucking enemy to the battlefield. Christ. Yeah, Salty, I'm doing good. How are you, bro? AdMake's doing AdMake stupid things. Get off my lawn, not only, but partially. Dude, that is fucking miserable. Oh my god, imagine the conversation that happened just after you awoke the Necrons. Like, one button, and you made the war infinitely harder.
And they think, get the fuck off of it. The Necrons are back, super advanced, and they are here to reclaim the galaxy that they so rightfully believe is theirs.
5 AM TV. Thanks for the follow, dude. Really appreciate
Tons
that.
of undead Egyptian skeleton robots
Thank you.
that when they die, they just get right back up because they keep on reanimating. Hard to kill. Tons of crazy stuff.
What?
You can use the Catan themselves as units to fight with. It's pretty cool. The Necrons are one of the 3 major events in 40K. The Horus Heresy.
Second Act, you bastard. Thanks for the deal. What's up, dude? Really appreciate that. 6 months in a row. Thank you. Necrons actually tried to help the Imperium save Cadia. Why would they help?
The fall of the Eldar and the awakening of the Necrons are all pretty substantial events. And the Necrons themselves are pretty dang cool as well. Here's a good quote from a wonderful Dawn of War game. Lucky creatures, as long last you have found the tranquility of death. I was like you once, clinging to life and blind to the truth. When I uncovered the truth, I too shuddered and paled with fear. Deep in these catacombs, I was remade. Here, my brethren slumbered for eons while the living grew like weed. My Lord knew this day would come. He had plans for us all. We would purge this world once more. So come, poor victims of life. We will grant you tranquility in these crypts. Kronos will be a tomb world once more. Necrons are also pretty smug. Trazen the Infinite especially, a little dickhead. But speaking of dickheads, last race, let's talk the Tau.
We made a fucking walkie.
You know
exact formation.
You know it's gonna be a good race when it starts with talking about dickheads.
Of the Tau Empire is not
also I
understood.
see weep vibes.
However, a long time ago, many thousands of years ago, in the 40K world that is, some Imperial navigation vessels were going around through different areas, and they saw a primitive race, blue people, smacking each other with sticks and stones. They thought,
so how you doing, brother?
Xenos race, who gives a shit? And they bailed. Then this giant warp storm occurred right in that major area, unable to be breached.
Of course.
Then, once that warp storm 6,000 years later subsided, hello, those little sticks. Well, they decided to actually have no war of any kind and all just unite together under one flag of the Tau Empire. And now they have gigantic starships and Gundam robots and lasers and railguns and mechs, and they are here to ruin your day for the...
Yeah, but the thing that sort of bothers me, Sebi Waves, is why would the Imperium work with them as well? So first and foremost, they seem to be strong enough to fucking withstand anything because they can just reanimate the whole time. So what could possibly fucking kill them? More importantly, the Imperium seems to hate everything and everyone regardless of anything. Even though the Imperium could probably learn a bit from the Necrons by also getting immortality and then saving their fucking god that can't speak. Okay, is it worse than Tyranids, or at least as bad? I don't know, dude. Everything seems fucking miserable in this universe. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Greater good.
I don't want to live in this universe.
They have this.
You know, when you play games, and no matter how bad things get in those games, you always find like places that you go, fuck, I would love to live in that universe. It could be so fucking cool. Yeah, none of those. Like, I have not found a single thing in the Warhammer 40k universe that makes me think, yeah, I could probably like living here. Everything seems fucked, is basically the only thing that I can take from this. If you live in the 40k universe, you're basically at eternal war, no fun, no games, no nothing, just everything is a fight. You probably, in order to have sex, you first have to fucking kill your wife or some shit. Otherwise, she won't let you. I don't know. It just seems like a fucked up place to be.
This kind of feeling of this homogenous group. All species can go underneath the banner of the greater good. The greater good is their idea of the fundamental increase and help of all. In fact, they are most likely
You're salty, yes. Wasteland 3, fucking amazing game. Never played Gears Tactics, but I'm currently playing XCOM 2 and fucking loving it. Sebi Webs, you bastard. Thanks for the deal. What's up? Did really appreciate that. 4 months in a row. Thank you, bro. 40k Universe is the worst place to live in all of fiction. Glad to see you're finally getting into it. Dude, I'm loving this shit. But at the same time, it's strange because there are so many games. So I'll take, for example, Mass Effect. The Reapers are miserable in Mass Effect. Yeah, the Rachni is miserable in Mass Effect. You know, there's bad things in Mass Effect. but there's places in Mass Effect where you think, oh my god, this could be amazing. I would love to live in these places. Warcraft, there's bad things in Warcraft, but you'd find places to want to live in. Final Fantasy, there's bad things in Final Fantasy, but there's a lot of places you want to live in. And then you get to 40K. And it's like, yeah, we're going to design a universe that basically the only reason you're interested in this universe is because at least your real life isn't this fucked up. Basically, the only thing you can say about 40K is at least my life. You can't be depressed if you're a 40K player because no matter what happens in your real life, you go, well, fuck, at least I don't live in 40K, right? Because this is just depressed and depressing as shit. This is it. Whenever you think life is bad, remember how things are 40K, pretty much.
The most like the Covenant in Halo, where they have the overarching prophets, being the ethereals, who are actually kind of dicks and like to pull at strings a little bit, but then you have all these different races directly underneath them, and they all work together in this big group as this large, foreboding race that tries to spread their weirdly pseudo-religious influence across the galaxy.
Oh my god, more religion.
The alien is not intrinsically evil. Do not hate him. Pity him, his ignorance. Seek to understand his differences and equate him with his inadequacies. Only then will he accept his place in the greater good. That is generally the Tau. And if you're kind of wondering like what their mainly big shtick is, well, they're all about big robots and mechs. They have laser rifles and rail guns. They got giant mechs with tons of missile pods and heavy rail rifles and rail guns and burst cannons and ion accelerators and void shields and all this stuff. And that is...
I'm Jam. The only reason you want to join Chaos is because you want to fuck Slanesh. Let's be real. As a Filipino myself, I humbly recommend a far superior 40K YouTube channel that will provide even greater React content. It's that loony something. I saw you guys talking about that earlier. What's the channel called? Something Luton 09. All right. I'll add that to the list, and then as soon as we stream again, I'll check out Luton 09. This just got recommended to me. That's it. Someone recommended that we check out every single Warhammer 40K faction explained, and we're on part 2 now, and it's fucking wild. Start the video, maybe Sabold. Yeah, Sebi, you don't even have to fucking ask, dude. Just, yeah, absolutely.
Is generally what the Tau's all about, but you're probably thinking, Bricky, this doesn't sound that evil. This doesn't sound very grim, dark Warhammer. And
Evans, I realized that for you and me, the uninitiated, the idea of having someone that you fuck and then they also fuck you is not necessarily the happiest time in life. But there are many who might look at that proposal, I'm going to fuck you and you're going to fuck the shit out of me, and say, oh boy, what a weekend. So I don't know if that's necessarily just automatically a bad thing,
And you'd be right. The Tau Empire really don't have that much of a horrifying, grim, dark style like everybody else. They're much more younger, new age thing. In fact, they're probably a lot less evil and a lot even better than they are now back in the day, because they liked having like that good guy faction. But a lot of us who really like the dark, depressing style of Warhammer didn't really like it that much. So, see, the Tau get a lot of hate, and a lot of that hate isn't necessarily unjustified. It's mainly from a tabletop perspective, but as you can see from all the visuals I've shown you recently, they don't really fit in the 40K universe very well. They lack that super dark, dramatic, kind of high gothic level the Imperium has. They don't have the weird kind of like grungy stuff.
They're definitely not as interesting.
And the Necrons and the Eldar have their own specific style as well. The Tau really do look like something out of Gundam.
Thank you very much, Sebi. I really appreciate that, bro.
Thing, it does definitely not fit too well. There's that. There's also the tabletop problem. In tabletop, Tau are horrible at melee combat, but exceptionally good at ranged combat. So they blast everyone from really, really far away, and they have a million rules to make it so that it's nearly impossible for you to get into melee combat. So it basically just forces you to bottleneck the game.
What rules? Is he talking about, so for example, if you want to get into melee range without getting fucking sniped, you have to roll higher than a certain thing? Or is it more a case of if you do get close enough, they can actually roll in order to run away again? What rules? Like, just name one rule that would, like, stop you from being able to get into melee range. Just so I have an idea in my mind of what that would mean. So basically learning what a shitty place the 40k universe is. That is how they try to make them more interesting currently. Tau is the youngest, but also the most naive. They are super advanced, though. I mean, I would say this. They're the only models that I don't find appealing at all. Like, all of the other races so far, whenever he shows the tabletop models, it's like, oh my god, that looks fantastic. Their models are a little bland. They can shoot you as you move. I use Overwatch to great effect in XCOM 2. Although last night I got my fucking ass handed to me by one of the Chosen. I was not impressed.
Into one specific gameplay style, which is gun to gun. And if you're doing gun to gun, they're going to win every time because they're the Tau. And the Tau are really damn good at shooting. So it's one of those things that make the Tau generally rather hated, and a lot of different reasons for that, both from style and such.
Okay, I'm Jam. Let me quickly. I don't know how many of you have ever played XCOM. In XCOM 2, if you get the War of the Chosen as well as all of the DLCs, there's one DLC that I by accident installed. I didn't realize that it was it was just gonna make the game very unfucking fun, right? But there's one that is basically called it's an alien DLC, right? So you get 3 new alien bosses. I can't remember the name of it now. But motherfucker, is that hard? So last night I faced one of these alien, like, genetic alien fucking things. Here's the issue. So they move further than any other unit in their turn. So they can they can close the gap between you and them really fucking quickly. They can freeze your troops in place for like 3 fucking turns. So your troops can't be anywhere near, like, you can't have 2 troops next to each other because they'll just freeze all of them. Every single time you do anything, so whether you run, whether you shoot, no matter what you do, every single time you do something, they get a free fucking turn for every single one of your units. And the mission I was on last night had 9 units. Basically my ship got shot down, and I had to go destroy a fucking pylon that keeps my ship on the ground. My ship can't fly away. 9 units. That thing got 9 turns. It killed all 9 of my fucking units. Because every single time I want to do anything with one of my units, that thing goes, fuck you, and just shoots my unit, kills them. I'm like, oh, for the love of all things that's fucking holy, how am I supposed to defeat this? This is just too much. So that's sort of like the hardest thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
But this is actually one of the things I wanted to end this video with, is that the Tau, while they have their issues, you should not be discouraged from playing them. I'll make plenty of Tau weeaboo jokes, of course I will, but it's all generally in good fun. Anyone who legitimately doesn't want you to play a faction is an idiot, and you shouldn't be giving them the time of day. You pick what you think is cool and what you like. In Warhammer, especially now, factions get better and they get worse. They grow and then they fall. You should only be playing what you think is cool. You like the look, you like the models. If you're talking tabletop, that is what you should be going for every time, is what you think is badass, because things change.
Chaos Gate is on my list of games to play. I really want to play Chaos Gate. It looks very good. It looks fucking awesome. The only thing I don't know is if you actually have the ability to build things. I can't remember if you can actually build things and sort of because my favorite part of XCOM is the base. The combat's fine, you know, I don't mind the combat, but I fucking love the base. I love building things and researching things and sort of I love that. It's just one of my favorite things of the game. So I don't want a game that's just go from battle to battle to battle to battle to battle. That would fucking bore me. I want something that has some downtime as well. XCOM, I don't know if XCOM is on console. I have no idea.
Change all the time, but the universe of Warhammer has so much going for it. Every faction has something interesting, every character has a story, and there's a million stories to be told. The universe is vast and exciting, and while it is dark, depressing, and horrible, that is the
Thromcon, no,
charm.
I didn't.
And out of everything I've told you in these 2 videos, if anything you could take away is the reason why so many of us are so into this series and why we like it so much. Because with so much variety, such an expansive universe, and so much that can be done, you can find yourself having a pretty great time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it has been informative to you. If you'd like to see more
I fucking
of me,
love this
Bricky,
video.
you have twitch.tv/Bricky for my streams. You have my merchandise site in which I was wearing all of my merch, but underneath this because I had to wear this so it wasn't black or white for the green screen, which is a little unfortunate, but it's fine. If you'd like to see merch, it is in the description.
This was really cool.
Also, if you'd like to support me on my Patreon,
I'm not skipping. I always watch videos that I react to right to the end.
Then that
just
because wonderful. So
the guy
Twitch,
made the video.
merch,
I want to have
Patreon,
everyone see where you can support the guy if you want to, where you can sub and all that shit.
I'm just stoked you got all the way to the end of the video, and that is enough for me. So I'm going to be having some more content like this out in the future. Thank you so much for sticking around this long and being with me through this pretty rough time. That's, I think, all I got. Also, before I go, let me leave you with my favorite
I have
Warhammer
played Desperado
quote.
3. I didn't like
He
it.
who scoffs at the power of the las gun has never ran through a field of 1,000 of them. Bye-bye.
The Imperium, bro. All right, so someone asked, what's my favorite faction in Warhammer 40k? I sort of got shaken after a while, because I knew immediately which faction I liked the most, literally from the first part. So Imperium. I knew immediately that I love the Imperium. I love the backstory of it, and I think the only reason I loved the Imperium as much as I do is because it seems to be the most fleshed out one, and as someone that fucking loves lore and story, I like things that you know, the more story the better. But then kind of got thrown with the Necrons, because the Necrons really fucking speak to me. I kind of really like them. And then the Dark Eldar was also like, yeah, kind of like them as well. They also really got me. So I'm gonna say my favorite faction. Let's do it this way. My favorite faction is the Imperium, mainly because I'm fascinated by the Emperor. I'm absolutely fascinated by the Emperor. But let's say my favorite faction that isn't the Imperium, because I feel like the Imperium is so fucking like vanilla for Warhammer. It feels like almost everyone likes the Imperium. The fact that they've spent so much time fleshing out the Imperium suggests that most people play Imperium. So let's say, other than the Imperium, let's go for the alien races sort of thing. There I'm going to go with the Dark Elves, the Eldar. Like the dark ones, not the ship ones. Or what do they call them? The what the fuck are they called? The worlds? Wape worlds? Not the Wape world ones. Imperium is awesome though. God Emperor of Mankind is an ultra mega giga chad. Well, I like him only because his story makes so little fucking sense to me. I just quickly want to see here. I missed someone's first time chat. Let me just quickly go back here. There we go. Oderic, thank you for the first time chat, dude. Really appreciate that. Everything is grim and depressed in Warhammer 40k unless you are an orc. Why? Because they are the only race that has one. All the factions know that they live in a dark and destroyed universe, but only for the orcs is not a problem. This because they do not care to live and die, but only to fight. So they're right in their own universe. Even the orcs of the Iron Horde of WoW would commit suicide in 40k, but not them. I feel like the humans are also not really fighting anymore for a good, for like a good world. The Drukhari, that's the one, yeah. Is godlike, but also flawed like a human. The Emperor is strange to me because there's so many questions around his existence. So many questions. So, for example, not even knowing anything about the Warhammer universe. Once we learned about the Drukhari, and how they created Slanesh, was it? Like how they literally created Slanesh. My immediate thought, but that means that the Empire could do this as well, right? The Imperium could fucking create their own god as well. And then people were like, yeah, dude, there's like literal speculation that that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to turn the fucking Emperor into... That's going to be weird for the Imperium, though, because they fight the Chaos, but they just created the Emperor into a Chaos God. Like, they literally just turned the Emperor into a Chaos God. That is going to be mind-fucking, next level mindfuck for the Imperium. Because who do we fight now? Our god is literally a Chaos God. Are we now Chaos? What are we supposed to do? The video to the Emperor answers most of the questions about that. So I tell you guys what, next stream, which is probably going to be on Monday. Right now I have to go. My power is going to go out soon. So what we'll do for next stream, that's going to be Monday. I don't think it's going to be same time, same place. I think it's going to be later. Let me just make sure. Actually, I know for a fact. So Monday stream is going to be much later. It's going to be about 2 hours from now. Let's say 2 to 3 hours from now. But on Monday, we'll dive into Luton 09 and we'll watch some Luton 09 things. There's theories that the God Emperor is turning into a Chaos God, but this may also be the only scenario in which humanity survives. I can see that, since humanity is currently fighting just to barely fucking hold on, right? How would you like to find out about 40k's version of Batman? The sunny side, if you guys want any videos for me to react to, head over to Discord, and in Discord there is a content suggestions tab, and you literally just drop the videos in there, and we'll go through all of them, especially if they're Warhammer 40k stuff, because I really want to fucking learn about the Warhammer universe. But I have to go now because my power is going out, so I have to turn everything off, and then while the rest of you sit in absolute first world countries, you know, have a great time, think of me as I'll be spending the next 2.5 to 3 hours in the fucking Dark Ages. It's always fun. It's always great. I'm probably going to go to the beach, so it's not the end of the fucking world. I got to head out to my doctor's appointment. I'm glad I caught your stream. Yosalti, very happy to have you here, brother. It only took OG years to get you to this point. Seven, that is true. Although, no, Apocalypse wants me to watch the fantasy stuff. He doesn't want me to fucking watch the 40k stuff. The Discord link, quickly give it to you. Oh my god, why are you doing this, bro? Wait, what? It's being weird. Okay, never mind. It doesn't want to do the right thing. There you go. Apocalypse has that. My chat seems to be fucked at the moment. Thank you very much, Apocalypse. I really appreciate that. Warhammer Fantasy Lore channels? Not yet. Well, actually, do we have Fantasy Lore channels on Discord, Apocalypse? We have other games. We have Warcraft, we have Final Fantasy. Yes, there's Warhammer. So in Warhammer, you'll find, on the Discord, you will find General Hammer, Liber Mortis, Total Warhammer groups, and Media Hammer. And then we also have Dungeons and Dragons group. We have the Final Fantasy group, the Warcraft group. So whatever you like, whatever you like there, you will most likely find a community for yourself there. It is sort of a nerds Discord, so be ready to argue with a bunch of fucking nerds about different speculations and stories and crap like that. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. I am very happy to have had you here. I will be going and, I don't know, spend some time in the darkness while the rest of you... is there someone that you guys wanted to go raid? I don't know. I don't know if there's any raids going on right now. Who do we have? Hey, we could probably raid Mr. GM. Fuck it. Yeah, we're going to go raid Mr. GM. He raided us the other day, so let's go say hello to Mr. GM here. All right, so even if you guys don't want to stick around, at least go say hello to Mr. GM. And I'll be back on Monday. For those of you that want to see the next version of Warhammer Reactions. And as soon as my power comes back and as soon as my power sort of stabilizes, we'll be back to playing some Final Fantasy. And eventually, I will also be playing Warhammer Chaos Gate because I really want to fucking play Warhammer Chaos Gate. It looks absolutely brilliant. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, as always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, and I will see all of you in the next one. Peace out, fam.